everybody, and welcome to Yeet the Rich. I almost said the name of my other podcast, and we're doing great. I'm Emily Walsh, and this is my co-host and husband, Danny Moss.
Hello, it's me.
It's you.
It's me.
I got distracted by the video. I was looking at my own face.
I know, because it's switching. We figured the switching out.
We figured it out. So this video might hit the internet.
It might go on the internet.
It might.
It might.
It's hard to say, honestly.
We'll see.
But yeah, I'm
excited. Cheers, Emily Walsh.
Cheers.
And y'all can cheers with us.
Yeah,
because you might be able to see us.
This is Yeet After Dark. We are having a little whiskey. It's been a week. It's been a week, everybody.
But in a really wild. So it's Yeet After Dark, and it is after dark.
Yeah, it is almost 10
but it's
p.m.
Thursday night, though. For a time check is pretty good.
We have a wedding to go to this weekend. We wanted to have this off of our list.
Proverbial plate.
But it is a vibe right now. The apartment is in shambles.
Yes. And so emotionally we are also.
Also in shambles. And about 20 minutes ago, we were still setting up, and I said, I'm a pour a whiskey. I think we've only drank during the show like twice.
Yeah.
In over 100 episodes.
A casual beer here and there. But,
but you more than me. I don't really.
Yeah.
But
my nerves,
Well, I was pregnant for a big part of it.
Right. And I was pregnant with love.
Oh, God. I'm already. I don't know.
Okay, one thing I do have to switch, because, it'll only matter if people see us on the video. I got to move this scary cactus.
We do have the scary. If you've ever watched a video with a child on TikTok where a cactus yells at the baby, we do have that cactus. Compliments of Danny's grandmother, mother.
Cactus. I don't know. It was one of the two of them. It's definitely my grandmother.
Frankie hates it, and so
my
I
grandmother.
threw it.
Shout out, Kathy. I love you. But you've been terrorizing me with animatronic, animals and
Critters.
snowmen for years. She used to. There was a Christmas snowman that would sing and dance, and she liked hiding it in my childhood home that I would show up to at night.
Objectively hilarious.
At college.
This is a great joke.
And I would just be I would be coming in for winter break, and I would be opening everything up and trying to go and get ready for bed, and then all of a sudden, very loudly, Frosty the Snowman would start singing and dancing at me.
I love this.
Terrifying.
I love this, Kathy. I think it's a great joke.
What I will say is I'd like to, reciprocate and do it back, but she's getting up there.
You can't do that to somebody.
Yeah. So
if you are a third generation, you gotta leave.
Yeah, you can't be terrorizing.
She's got four. Frankie's great grandchild. You can't.
Which is exciting.
That's nice. Yeah, but you can't be scaring her.
No. But now we have a spooky cactus robot that I just didn't. Seeing it back there was creeping me out.
You didn't want to have it centered. Someday we'll design what's behind us in a more.
Yeah, the museum will be true and happening right behind us.
Right behind us.
Tis not yet.
Tis not yet. And but we. Coffee counter. We gotta do coffee chat.
Yeah.
I made my morning coffee. Forgot about it. Bought a second coffee on my walk.
Shizzle biscuit.
Drank the whole thing. That's not a thing. Also, that sounded like a negative thing, but it's a good. I had an orange blossom latte. It was delicious.
That sounds nice.
And then I drank my really sad morning coffee at 2 in the afternoon.
Okay, double coffee.
And now it's 10 o'clock and I'm having whiskey.
Yeah.
And for some reason, not to have too much baby talk, we'll stop in a minute or two. But for some reason, when Frankie was never sleeping, I felt more rested than having one bad night this week. Yeah. I had one night where I was up with her for 3 hours and I have not recovered.
When she when she's having pretty consistent, even though she's been waking up early, she's been pretty consistent. But she is just getting a hold of that rug with all the might that she has in her body to pull it right out from under us.
The new thing that she's doing, I don't know if I told you this, is she didn't want to take her nap, so she stood up in the crib.
Okay.
And her room doesn't have a closet, and she doesn't have enough clothes yet that she needs a wardrobe, but we have this little rack that holds her 10 things that go on hangers. She was trying to rip them down, and she couldn't. I was just watching all this on the video monitor. So then she was the sweater that was closest to her. She was trying to eat the buttons while standing in the crib from on the hanger.
Yeah, because she's I'm not going to scream for you to come get me, but I am going to try to inhale this button.
I will make you come stop this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I did, and she was wide awake and just smiling at me what's wrong with this? But yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Well, I'm at the helm this time around.
I'm ready
which is
to
gonna
be the
exciting.
passenger. I have been the helm for 8 episodes.
8 episodes, and
I've
I've really appreciated it. You've really got me out of a really tough place, and now we're back. We're back in, baby.
We're back, baby.
I'm very
New
excited
topic.
about the series. It's a new topic. It's probably going to be a 3 or 4 parter, I think.
It's never been less.
Gay.
I mean,
except for that one time when it was 1, but that's
the first episode we ever recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
That was my episode. So
Yeah,
I was pretty good about it.
I've had one episode.
I know. You've had 2 on episodes.
A few.
Yeah,
A
you've
few.
had a couple. Well, I had Red Lobster too. That was a single.
Oh, sure.
Little
Excuse
single
me.
dingle.
So, single. I am excited because I only know the bullet points. I don't even think
Yeah.
I know the bullet points. I know the have you heard of this person?
Yeah.
Kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
points.
yeah.
So this is brand.
Oh, this is also another shout out to my grandmother, actually, because she was the one that,
Yes,
that
she
brought
suggested
this
this
story. She
topic.
suggested this topic. So I guess let's get into it. So
fucking go.
this week and for a couple of weeks here, we're going to talk about a woman named Henrietta Lacks.
Let's go.
And the HeLa cells that are immortal, I guess. They're everywhere, all over the world right now. And
Yeah,
this
you're
lady,
gonna have to tell me what HeLa cells are.
This lady lived in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like she died in 1951, but there are still trillions of her propagated cancer cells living today and used in like medical testing everywhere around the world.
Wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wild.
It's absolutely crazy. So,
why? They're replicas.
Yeah.
That's a dumb question, but
they're like
her DNA.
her DNA, her cells.
I fear that this series is going to wildly just really show the world that I have not taken a science class since 2003.
I never
and
took a biology
never
class, so
my
what
thing.
are we gonna do?
We're
we're probably gonna get some real good notes from
People will be shouting.
from Sarah.
Yeah.
She's gonna teach us a lot about science and stuff.
I'm excited for those
But
texts.
I've learned a lot about just medical science and
Let's go.
ailments and things like that through this series. So she was born in the 1920s, and her cells, these HeLa cells, are going to change the face of modern medicine. It's one of the most influential discoveries, developments in medical history, which is kind of crazy.
I guess I shouldn't ask. I should just let you tell me.
No, it's okay. What were you gonna ask?
I just wanted to know if she are her cells especially different, or is this just the person that the world decided to take advantage of?
They are especially different. So
Okay.
they were trying to do this thing, create immortal human cells for decades,
in order to do tests and
stuff like this. Yeah, where especially within the cancer research world, they're trying to replicate cells of a healthy cell and a non-healthy cell to try to determine the difference and see if they're trying to find the moment when a healthy cell turns into a cancerous cell and what caused it and things like that. And also just that type of side-by-side testing.
Sure.
And really the cell replication, the cell in culture, growing cells in a lab was the one of the dreams is to grow organs and then instead of needing transplants, being able to just have a warehouse full
we
of
don't need your
hearts
liver,
and
we
lungs
built
and livers
one.
and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. That has never come to pass. And there's some fraudsters that tried to make it seem like they did that, and they did not. So
Are we going to talk about that?
We're
or
going
is
to
that
talk.
a
We are
different
going to talk
thing you
about
know
that some within this. Yeah.
And then they sold them on the Silk Road.
Yeah. Okay, so the first ever HeLa cells. So HeLa, and we'll get into it later, but the naming convention is that they literally take the first 2 letters of their first name, the first 2 letters of their last name. So Henrietta
so that's not
Lacks.
I mean,
It's
is
not
a
a
science
science
word,
thing.
but it's not. I thought a HeLa
it's not
cell
like helium
was
and
Gotcha.
whatever LA would be, but it is
Los
just
Angeles,
Henrietta.
Danny. It's Los Angeles.
It's Los Angeles. The element Los Angeles. A lot of hope and optimism and opulence.
Full of minerals and crystals. So
Yeah,
I
a lot of
nailed it.
minerals and crystals.
Nailed it. I feel good about this.
So so it's just Henrietta Lacks, HeLa cells, and so they were first removed from her cervix in 1951 at Johns Hopkins Hospital.
Okay.
Only a few months before her death, caused by cervical cancer.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. And sadly, she was only 31 when she died.
Oh, I hate this already.
But these cells would live on. Again, there's still her cells are like living today. They're probably in like any major lab has trillions of these cells right now, which is absolutely nuts.
Wild. I have so many questions, but I know they're all things that come later. Like, I'm really just trying to be patient right now.
I mean, if you want to ask a couple of them, I'll probably shoot off because I remember most of them. But
is her family super mad about that?
So we, yes. So one, like the doctors, the scientists, all these people, they didn't ask for consent.
Yeah.
When they took them, they had a blanket consent that was basically like, hey, you can do anything you want to help try to cure the cervical cancer that I have is the thing that she signed when she went in.
But also, to be fair, I understand that the forms were completely different 70 years ago.
Yeah.
I also want to say the last time I went to the doctor, they just have a thing where you sign on a digital thing, but it doesn't show you the paperwork. And this woman was literally like, sign here, and I just did it. And then she clickety-clacked. She was like, sign here. And I was just signed. I have no idea.
Maybe all of your cells are being scientifically tested on you.
I'm just saying, like, we sign things as Americans. Like,
for sure.
Like, I trust.
Well, and we'll talk about it some, but like Black Americans especially, like getting in, there were a lot of hospitals that wouldn't treat Black Americans in the 1950s at all. Johns Hopkins was one of them. She was just trying to be
healthy,
and like they also didn't want to buck anything because they might just get turned away. So it's like there's that too, where you just like sign this piece of paper, and they're like, okay, sign this piece of paper.
If I don't sign it, you might turn me away, and then what do I do?
That one form of consent that she signed did not really have anything to do with like
what they
donating to scientific testing or anything like that. It was exclusively about doing whatever was medically necessary to cure her of cancer.
And again, I have no idea how this story ends, but everything in America is created because of court cases and anger. Like, we all kind of operate under the assumption that we can do whatever we want until the law is like, no.
Full disclosure. So I often in all these series I read these books like 5 times. And by the time I get to the end of the series, I just, based on whatever neuro sauce is in my head, I just get bored and then like have a really hard time with the end. So I have not read past.
Ooh.
I don't know exactly. I know the bullet
Rough
points
stuff.
of past this episode, but I don't know exactly how it ends or how we get there. But
was that purposeful, or was that a lack of time thing?
No, this was purposeful in it is an experiment. I'm doing a little science on myself.
Love it.
To see whether or not I stay engaged and excited throughout the end of the process to see.
And
I'm trying to work with my whatever, ADHD is living in my brain.
I am trying to not read your notes and get mad about the typos. So we're both trying stuff.
I'll just go ahead and move that
Tilt
over
it.
here.
I can still read them.
The typos get worse and more blatant.
Oh, boy.
Because by the time I was just like stream of consciousness.
Your font is just so big. I can see it all the time. No, don't change it. 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 I'm going to stare right at my own face.
I do know that it took like decades before the family even knew that Henrietta's cells were being used in science.
And how do they find? I have so many questions.
So these cells literally were instrumental in curing polio.
Shit.
They were they helped test like chemotherapy as a thing only existed because they had her cells to do it.
So basically, the entire world owes this woman a debt of gratitude.
Such a debt of
that
gratitude.
she doesn't know
Absolutely.
about.
No. And again, so her family didn't know for decades.
Gotcha.
And then the public didn't know who Henrietta Lacks was for even longer. Like I have the date here later, but just HeLa. They just called them HeLa cells. And the doctors and scientists actually like purposefully obscured her name. Like somebody thought they knew who it was. They were like, Helen Lane, this is Helen Lane. And the doctors were like, oh no, please leave Helen Lane alone. I mean, I don't know if they cackled like that.
Yeah, I was like, are they cartoons from the 40s?
But they just did things so they left people believing it was someone else. They created another Helen that it wasn't. Like there was a lot of things that happened that was specifically kind of designed to obscure it. And they were like, oh, it's because we want to protect the family's, privacy.
Right.
But really, it's like
they
didn't
covering
want
their tracks.
Yeah, they didn't want people to know that they basically stole a bunch of cells from an old Black woman who was dying of cervical cancer.
Not old, 31.
Oh, a very young Black woman.
Take that word out your mouth.
Yeah, sorry. I just from the 1950s, so I'm like, old. She was not old. She was
not
very,
old
very
in
young.
any decade.
Very young, very vivacious.
Is just she's ready to live.
Yeah, very ready to live. But they like stole these cells and then began profiting off it. Like they didn't really know the industry that would be built around these cells initially, but it turned into a
But literally, how could you predict that?
Yeah, but still, like, they never went back to be like, hey, family,
Hey, by the
until
way, we
lots
at least
of
built a statue or something.
yeah, until lots of lawsuits happened. Lots of lawsuits. And I think literally, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this book was also pretty instrumental in like moving the law, the cases forward.
What book is it? Would you like to share that?
Oh yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, I don't want to mess
no,
with your
no, it's
flow.
okay. I just had a lot more intro to get into, but the source for this book is called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. Written in Skloot. Yeah, written in
Love it.
2010.
Oh my God.
And the book is really good, and the author is very clearly invested in the story. And I think she does a very good job of centering Henrietta and her family in the story, because there were other documentaries and other things that were made that were like so focused on what the cells were that kind of it
takes away dehumanized
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she very specifically talks a lot about not only Henrietta, but also her kids that she talked to and her husband and all of this other stuff.
I mean, I've seen this book cover a lot.
Yeah.
And
it did get turned into a movie as well, which I'll probably watch, but I haven't watched yet.
What was it called? Do you know?
The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks.
Well, there you go. It's a nice, easy title.
So I think it's really cool. And so other things that her cells were used for helped cure polio, went over that one, helped develop like what would happen to humans if they were in zero gravity or in high pressure situations, allowing us to go to space and go deep down into the ocean. Yeah.
Are those the same scientists as are doing polio?
Different scientists. This is literally.
That's just because they handed the cells out
to the point where
swag.
One of the reasons that we don't test cosmetics on animals anymore is because we have her cells.
That's crazy.
It's
also,
nuts.
The most insane thing about like America and the state of the world and et cetera is like, I'm sure, and this is me talking from like a place of some knowledge, but not really.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we do not do any testing that focuses on black women. Like, no, because like there's so many things we don't test on women.
I mean, now we
general.
probably do a little, but only
maybe.
Well, we'll talk about Tuskegee
But
in this series too.
then we're using a black woman's cells to do all of this stuff.
All of
it
the
just
science.
feels. It just is so.
And like in the book, it points out the fact that like so polio, and I think we're going to get into this in the next episode, but polio, that study was done at the Tuskegee Institute.
Oh.
Which initially was a place where a lot of black scientists were going and like doing real like medical research work and stuff like that.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Sure.
Is Tuskegee a city, and then these things were all? Because I know the Tuskegee Airmen and the
I think
Institute.
So.
Okay.
I will know more on that. I'll speak more on that in the next episode.
Okay, great. I'm sorry if I put you out on
No.
Front Street.
I'm pretty sure it's a city, but we'll find out, and people will probably tell us. But you know, because you know about the very infamous Tuskegee syphilis study.
Yes.
Yeah. That like very specifically like
they like gave it to them, right?
Well, that I'm pretty sure is just a myth that kind of got built after.
But
they basically like found black men that had syphilis
it.
and did not treat it to see what would happen, even though we knew very, very well what would happen.
Did the men know they had syphilis, or were they just like, I went to the doctor? And...
Some of them did, and some of them didn't. I think.
Okay.
And by the time like that, all of this was like halfway through the quote unquote study. It was really bad science. So, but halfway through that study, they figured out that they could easily cure it with penicillin.
I mean, the other
and then
thing
they just
is
didn't
like
do it. They
the
let them die.
1950s, when she dies, is like 40 years after doctors realized they should wash their hands.
Yeah.
Like science is not sciencing yet.
Right.
Like,
and the two of the main scientists that like developed the cell culturing science, one of them, his wife was like trained as a surgeon, so she knew a lot more about sterilization.
And he
was a biologist, and he was just like, what are we doing? We're just gonna mix it up with a bunch of, like I got this
spoon
stick
from the kitchen.
Yeah, and she was like, absolutely not. And she's really the reason why that anything actually got developed there. One of the reasons is his wife. Yeah.
Good for him.
Also, genetic screening as a concept. So like being able to tell how many like chromosomes you have and whether or not there's a chromosome deficiency because of her cells.
Wow.
Somebody like accidentally put the wrong solution on top and it like expanded the DNA and they could like literally see it with their microscopes.
Okay.
And that was they wouldn't have done that without having her cells to test this on.
Sure.
In vitro fertilization.
Wow.
Advanced in cloning research, which is gross and spooky, but here we go.
Clones scare me so much less now that we have AI.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
I'm like, clones. That's so
whatever.
A sheep? Who cares?
Who
Clone them up.
cares?
Who cares? I'm not even worried about it. I'm worried about the robots now.
Yeah.
And this did not transfer to my face when I said I was worried about. Yes.
Oh,
it did not.
We're talking about you, robots.
See, it's not letting me speak about my.
This robot is trying to silence women.
All robots are trying to silence women.
Yeah, true.
I stand by that.
True.
Okay, continue.
Okay. So basically anything that needs human testing, they would all like scientists and probably now still do around with her cells because even though they're cancerous cells and they're abnormal cells, they react very similarly as normal healthy human cells to toxins. And
I am just really excited to find out about why we still are using this woman's cells. Like why that's okay.
No other cells because eventually they have gotten other cells to be able to propagate in this way, but never as successfully as her cells.
Gotcha. Because I have to assume somebody was like, yeah, you can have my cells.
Yeah, go ahead. Here's some cells.
Like, doesn't your mom want to like go to the body farm?
Yeah, she does.
People are fine with their bodies being used for science.
Yeah,
I want them to consent to that.
Right. Yeah, but none of them, I'll have to do some specific research to make sure that we are still. I'm pretty sure we.
I'm
still
sorry
are,
that I'm so curious.
No. I love this. This is great.
I got a lot of questions.
I will say that it is allowing me to be much more off the cuff and not just reading from these pages,
which I love.
Yeah. So there are literally trillions of descendants of these original cells that were taken in the 1950s.
So many commas,
and
bro.
Fun fact, and maybe not so fun fact, if you put together all of the HeLa cells ever grown and weighed them, that huge quantity of cells would weigh over 50 million metric tons.
That's so many elephants.
It's a lot of elephants.
That's 25 million elephants.
Yeah. If you put them end to end, like cells that are
you can't see. You're trying to show me how small they are. You can't see how small a cell is.
If you put them end to end in one long line, they would stretch out roughly 350 million feet, enough to wrap around the Earth 3 times.
Until you said the Earth 3 times, I was like, that number means nothing to me. I was like, great, that's another big number.
All the way around the Earth.
You can name so many big numbers.
3 times. Yes, I can. But I don't know. I just thought that.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can. Googleplex, heard of it?
No, actually, what is that?
You don't know what Googleplex is?
Oh, the big number.
Yeah,
I thought you said Googleplex, as in like a product from Google.
No.
I was like, is that a big calculator?
That one thing that you learn in like a random high school math class that is never applicable ever in your life again.
I think I was paying attention in high school.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
You'd be right. I was a nerd.
Calculus.
Anyway.
Okay, we kind of already talked about how her doctors were awful and they didn't allow her to actually consent for any of this stuff. And the fact that, so here we go. So Henrietta's children wouldn't find out about the HeLa cells until 1973.
So
she died in 1951. 22 years. And the only reason they found out is because people wanted to do testing on them to see whether or not they had cells.
Say what you will about TikTok. If TikTok existed then, this would have been cleared up in like 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks. Everybody would have been
outraged.
Yeah. So they clearly never received any compensation from any of these companies that were now making millions. Until about 2023, when the family finally began 2023, like, they finally started getting some payments.
So in the book, they didn't even get anything.
No, I think there's probably an afterward. Sure. I would guess, or I'll be doing some further research by the time I get to the end of the book. We'll see. We'll see. We're gonna have to tune in to find out.
Only time will tell.
Okay. Great. So let's get into it. Let's get into the actual story of it.
25 minutes.
I think that was a pretty good intro. I wouldn't call it concise by any means, but I think we're hooked. Yeah.
When have we been concise?
That's not.
I had whiskey.
Okay. So Henrietta first went to be examined by a Johns Hopkins doctor in January of 1951.
Is that in D.C.? I forget.
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Perfect. The same.
Which actually
the
it might
same.
be in D.C.
No, Baltimore's not in D.C.
Baltimore is
in Maryland.
right, but Maryland is in D.C.
Nope.
is in Maryland.
Nope.
No?
D.C. is its own thing.
I thought it was connected to.
It's very
not
close.
in, but I thought it was on the border of Virginia and Maryland. Yeah, it's like a little tumor on the bottom of Maryland.
There you go. It's our nation's capital.
Yeah, drain the swamp.
I think Baltimore's like an hour away from D.C. It's
Got
not
it.
like right there. It's close.
Okay, so it's in Baltimore. I know she lives in Baltimore, and she's like 20 minutes from Johns Hopkins.
Like,
so
do you remember when Jim and Sarah used to live?
Yeah.
They lived closer to Baltimore than
Right.
D.C.
Okay, so Baltimore, Johns Hopkins.
First season of The Wire.
Yeah.
Every season of? I never got past the first season.
every season.
Those ladies in the truck kind of.
Yeah, no, I hear
Yeah.
you. That first episode, second season, Emily was like, you know what?
I'm done.
okay.
I'm good.
I watched it all the way through. Did enjoy it. The first season, probably the best.
First season's great.
Yeah.
I won't ever find out about the rest. But
Okay, so she showed up in January of 1951. She told the receptionist that she had a knot on her womb and needed to be looked at by a doctor.
Knot?
A knot.
okay.
So she'd kind of been feeling that
She
there was
felt like
something
a
wrong
lump
with
or
her for a
something.
while.
Oh,
and
okay.
she was like, she didn't even, I think, initially feel like an actual lump, but she just felt something wrong, and no one believed her because...
Well, I have never had an ovarian cyst, but knowing many people that have,
Yeah.
it is kind of this murky, something's bad.
Yeah.
But it can present in so many ways.
Right.
And women just deal with discomfort in a way where you're like, yeah, no, I feel awful. I got to go to work,
I
though.
have felt awful for
I feel
months.
awful all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Not good. So she felt something inside her, and it hurt all the time a little bit, and then sex had become incredibly painful.
oh,
So she was like, something is wrong. The pain during intercourse for sorry. Blah blah blah. The pain during intercourse first began right after the birth of her daughter Deborah. And they thought that it had something to do with the pregnancy, or possibly she'd gotten an STD from her husband, who would occasionally step out and sleep with other women. And she got a number of STDs from her husband, including like during her like cancer treatment, she got acute gonorrhea, which was not great.
this guy is terrible.
Yeah, it's not the best, but they're
this-
okay. There is a chance that she slept with a guy named Crazy Joe, who was called Crazy Joe because he was crazy about her.
Bury the lead. Okay, so maybe they're just having fun, but they should be protected. But
it was also, 1950s. Hard to say. When were the condoms created?
I mean, a million years ago.
mean,
I don't know when
maybe
latex
probably before the
condoms were
50s.
created, but lambskin is a thing.
Yeah, true. Yep. So her friends told her to go get this checked out because seems like not a good sign. But at first, Henrietta refused. Her friends thought that she was worried that if she went to the doctor to get this checked out, they may do something that would force her to stop having children.
Oh, how many children does she have?
Ooh, like 7. Some of them pass away kind of young.
Does she have a lot of money?
No.
Okay. Did she want to form her own football team?
I think that's probably what it was. Yeah.
I know everybody.
Okay,
just has
she
a
had
bunch of kids.
she had 5 children.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah. So about a week after telling her like friends and cousins, she was very close with all of her, family and her cousins,
Sure.
and they were good friends. But about a week after telling them about the pain, she discovered that she was pregnant with her 5th child, Joe.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Her friends told her that the pain was probably caused by the early pregnancy, but Henrietta insisted that something was still wrong.
I mean, if you've had 4 pregnancies, like
Yeah.
if I had pain in my pregnancy, I would not have known that it was off necessarily.
Right.
But the fact that she's had 4 children before and
Yeah.
she's got a new feeling.
And the thing was that she felt the pain kind of long before, because I bet she felt it before she was like got the nerve up to talk to her friends about it too for a while. So
Well, it takes intercourse to make the kid, and if the intercourse is
Yeah,
painful
yeah.
already, then
you're like,
yeah.
okay. And they're just learning about like endometriosis and things like that. So it's
We
like,
still don't know about endometriosis.
No.
Let's be real.
no, we do not. So they didn't talk about it much more, and Henrietta didn't tell her husband David about it. His name is David, but it's pronounced like Day. So I'm going to call him Day from now on because that's how the author pronounced it. So, so after about 4.5 months after baby Joseph was born, she began bleeding when it wasn't her time of the month, and she didn't stop for like 2 months.
So this is a really long period of time that she's not going to the doctor.
Yeah, it is, and
pregnancy,
like
full pregnancy to term.
Once she actually goes to the doctor, the doctor kind of writes in her case notes because they have her medical history because she's been to Johns Hopkins a few times, but it's like after each one of the pregnancies, they kind of write in her notes. It's like, you definitely have syphilis. You should probably get that sorted out. You have like you've got a deviated septum that should be repaired. You've got all these things.
Deviated septum.
Yeah, it's just another thing that she has that eventually they do actually surgically fix. But
I was like, that's not her cervix, right?
No, I know. But I'm just saying that like she has had a number of medical maladies that basically she does not go back to the doctor for because there's a general like distrust of the medical system. So she goes if she has to, but
I know that they wouldn't have discovered it probably anyway. But just out of curiosity, do you know if she gave birth to her 5th child in the hospital?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe
but she didn't bring it up.
No, because that's right. She definitely gave birth to her 5th child in the hospital. And we'll get into it, but like pretty soon after all of that, a tumor forms, and the doctor notes that it's kind of nuts that only like a month or only like 4 months earlier they had this child, and then did like a checkup and didn't notice this thing. So either the doctors were incompetent or this tumor is growing incredibly fast.
Got it.
So, So worried about the bleeding that just didn't stop for months, which, it's not supposed to be like that, as far as I understand.
Nope.
She was worried. She got in a warm bath and basically performed a rudimentary examination of her own cervix and discovered what she had suspected the whole time, a small hard lump just to the left side of the opening of her cervix, which would be incredibly painful because it's pretty far up there.
Yeah.
But she was like, I got to figure out why I'm bleeding.
No,
so much.
Kudos.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have the strength to do that, but.
So she made Day take her to the doctor. Her local doctor also did a cervical exam and easily found the lump. He thought at first it was just a sore from syphilis, but after it tested negative, he told Henrietta that she should go to Johns Hopkins Gynecology.
I got the heebies.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a number of moments where there's some heebies. If it gets really, if the heebie potential goes through the roof, I'll try to give you a warning ahead of time.
I'm woof.
Yeah, I know this is, this episode is going to be a lot about this woman's medical struggles, as well as a bunch of like really cocky doctors. Yeah.
Righteous indignation.
That's what we got right here. So Johns Hopkins was one of the top hospitals in the country and one of the only major hospitals that would treat black people.
Right.
It was built in 1889 as a charity hospital for the poor, and the public wards of the hospital were just completely full of poor and mostly black patients unable to pay for their medical bills. So they set up, public wards for them to come in, and if they couldn't, pay what you can, basically, kind of thing. So other hospitals would completely turn black patients away, even if it meant they would die in the parking lot. Which is awful. So even though Johns Hopkins was not quite that evil, they were still fully segregated, and like it was, literally they would take blood and label it like colored because it was only used for black people.
Wow.
And they wouldn't give them, white blood, I guess.
And I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I would assume that white people would be more upset about getting black people's blood than vice versa.
I would assume, but also I don't really know.
I don't really know.
I mean, if it's life-saving blood, you'd think it wouldn't matter, but
no. But I've seen ER. People get weird about stuff.
Yeah. Especially because, and I hope. If you've been thinking to yourselves, if all of our guests, or all of our listeners,
so I was like, do we have a live studio
all of our
audience?
listeners have been thinking to themselves, man, it's been really nice to not have to talk about eugenics,
We're back,
unfortunately,
baby.
we will be dipping our toe back in that unfortunately
Seems
murky
like
water.
we're gonna be dipping our legs in that.
Yeah. Okay, so once Henrietta was finally brought back into the exam room, the doctor did yet another examination and found the mass right where Henrietta said it would be. And even with his years of experience, and he'd seen like thousands of cervical cancer examples at this point, because he was just, that's what this guy did. He had never seen anything like Henrietta's tumor before. So the mass was about the size of a nickel in diameter and shiny and dark purple. It was also so delicate that it would bleed at the slightest disturbance.
Apologies for these sounds, but
No,
they're just gonna happen.
No, I think yes.
I'm too close to this.
Yeah, you've been through too many similar examinations.
Well, I just scraping stuff down there. It's not great.
Not great at all. Which the bleeding makes sense as to why she was
bleeding all the time.
She was bleeding all the time.
Yeah.
It was because the tumor was very delicate. So not wanting to jump to any conclusions, the doctor took a small biopsy to send to pathology department for a diagnosis. He then told Henrietta to go home. After she left, the doctor worked on his exam notes. He noted how strange it was that Henrietta had a full-term baby
10
months
minutes
before
ago.
at Johns Hopkins. And no one made a special note of the spot. So again, it's like either they didn't notice, which is nuts,
or it's the fastest growing
it's
tumor on the
super
planet.
fast, yeah. Which based
also,
on
it seems like there would have been a lot more blood when she gave birth.
if it was active,
there.
and based on how her cancer progresses later after once it gets really bad, I would say it probably grew really, really fast. And the robustness of these HeLa cells, it just feels like
I was going to say that's one of the reasons they like her cells, if they duplicate quickly.
They duplicate very quickly. They double every day for completely, which is crazy.
Again, I have no frame of reference, but it sounds
It's
crazy.
a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way back to her childhood for a little while and not talk about tumors for a bit.
Okay.
Great.
That sounds nice.
There you go. It's like the opposite of a trigger warning. We're just taking her foot off the cancer gas pedal for a little bit. So her birth name was Loretta Pleasant. She was born on August 1st in 1920. Nobody really knows why or when they changed her name to Henrietta, but they did. She was born in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay.
She lived in Roanoke with her mother and father until about 1924, when her mother died in childbirth with one of her siblings. Yep. I thought we were out of the woods. We were not.
You lied.
I did lie. So her father had never really... We don't love her father. He had never really been the kind of child rearing type.
Sure.
So he took them to where his relatives and family lived in Clover, Virginia, and just dropped all of their kids off with the various members of their family to help work tobacco fields.
How many kids were there? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe I can find out. Oh, she had 9 siblings.
That's a lot.
So it's a lot of kids. And basically they showed up in Clover and then just dispersed these kids.
Amongst family members?
Oh, actually 10 kids, including Henrietta. So just dispersed them amongst family members. Henrietta ended up with her grandfather, Tommy Lacks. So Henrietta's grandfather lived in what everyone called the home house, which is a small log cabin that used to be the slave quarters. So they lived, I don't know if it was on the actual plantation that they had been their family had been slaves on, but they did live basically in slave quarters on an old plantation.
Oh, God.
Which is kind of nuts. Tommy Lacks was already raising another grandchild from a different part of the family.
Did he have a wife or just him?
I think it was just him.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but the other grandchild was a young boy named David, pronounced Day.
Oh no.
Yeah. Different sides of the family, I think, but they did end up getting married eventually.
Same grandpa, though. Is that what we're saying?
I think we're saying same grandpa, but it might be It might be like uncle, grandpa. I don't know.
I was gonna say, if
know?
you have the same grandpa, that's the same side of the family.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, not great. Not ideal.
No, I mean, it's just 1920s. What are you gonna do?
So, Day was actually born right on the home house floor. After a very difficult pregnancy, the white doctor overseeing the pregnancy documented Day as a stillborn and left. So he was just like, "This baby is no longer with us." Day's mother prayed and washed the baby and kind of rubbed his chest, and then suddenly he gasped for breath. So it's kind of nuts. Also,
I'm
that
so
doctor
upset
sucked
already.
Yeah,
It's so early for me to be this upset.
I love you so much. We can get more whiskey if you need.
I might.
Yeah, you might. So by the time Henrietta moved in with her grandfather, she was 4 and Day was 9. Henrietta and all of the Lacks cousins, because again, there were just dozens of cousins. Were very close. They played together. They worked side by side with the adults in the tobacco fields. They just were around all the time. So eventually Day and Henrietta would marry. There's a real like Summer I Turned Pretty vibe going on here with another boy they called Crazy Joe. And they called him Crazy Joe because he was crazily in love with Henrietta.
See, you say the Summer I Turned Pretty, but you're just showing your lack of knowledge because the whole thing about that book series and TV show is that those two boys are brothers.
Right. I do think Crazy Joe was also part of the family.
Okay, well then I'm back. You're right.
But he would do like really erratic and over the top things. Like at one point he was like, Henrietta, Henny, go on a date with me, and she was like, leave me alone, Joe. And he jumped in to a frozen lake and stayed in the frozen water, and he was like, I'm not leaving this frozen water until you go on a date with me. And she was like, get out of the water.
This is emotional terrorism.
Yeah, no, it's pretty rough. Eventually when he found out that Henrietta was marrying Day, he stabbed himself in the chest with a rusty pocket knife.
Jesus Christ!
He survived, but then was pretty rough for the rest of his life.
Did he go to the wedding?
Oh, I don't think so. No.
Do you know how old they were when they got married?
Young, very young, probably.
Yeah, because there's a 5-year age difference.
Yeah,
so I'm already upset.
Young. 15.
Yeah, and you called her an old woman for 31, and she had 5 kids. Yeah,
I did. Please don't bring that one back up
again.
I'm
gonna bring it up till we're dead.
Boy,
it's like when you told me you were dating an older woman, and she was my age. Remember that?
No, she was older than you.
No, we looked it up on Facebook.
We looked it up incorrectly.
We looked it up. I saw it with my eyeballs.
Anyway.
You're going to edit that out.
I'm not, I guess. Well, especially because the video is going to be harder to edit, and I don't know how to do that. So we might be stuck with it.
All right.
So here we go. Henrietta and Day were married in 1941. She was 20.
Okay.
So less crazy.
That's fine.
And he was 25.
30s, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. They were too busy on the farm for a honeymoon, and the United States was also gearing up for war. So all of the farms were producing as much as possible to help supply the troops.
Sure.
Yeah. One of Henrietta's cousins named Fred decided he needed a change and moved to Turner Station outside of Baltimore to work in a steel mill. Many black families abandoned their southern farms in favor of industrial factory work, leading to a huge migration from the southern states up to the bigger northern. I
was going to say, wasn't it called the Great Migration?
It was called the Great Migration.
Yes,
correct.
I read a book about it once.
So black factory workers would get on average about 80 cents an hour, which is absolutely nothing compared to what the white workers made and nothing compared to today. But that was more money than any of the Lacks kids had ever made in their entire life. So Day went back to Turner Station with Fred. Henrietta stayed behind tending to the tobacco fields and raising the children. She would eventually follow him about a year later once Day had raised enough money to buy a home and, get them moved in.
Sure.
Okay, so we're getting back into,
Fast
her
forwarding
present
back
day,
to
back to 1951.
Okay, this was a flashback.
This was a
and we're
flashback.
done.
We're just talking about, how they met and history and how they made it to Baltimore.
And how her cousin stabbed himself in the chest.
Stabbed himself in the chest. Crazy Joe. Henrietta's biopsy results were back from the pathology lab. She had a thing called an epidermoid carcinoma of the cervix, stage 1. So cancers are caused by a single cell gone wrong and mutating and growing out of control. They are categorized by the type of cell that they originated from. So a carcinoma comes from a thing called epithelial cells or epithelial tissue, which is skin or the lining of organs.
And a carcinogen is the same like word, like they come from the same root word.
Yeah, I bet they do. I don't really know, but because carcinogen is just a thing that
causes cancer.
Leads to cancer. So there's carcinoma, and then there's a sarcoma. So a sarcoma is soft tissue, so like the in-between tissue. So your fat, your muscles, even your bones, some of those are considered sarcomas. Leukemia is a blood-based cancer that originates in bone marrow.
Right.
Lymphoma is the lymph nodes, and melanoma has to do with the melanin in your skin. So it is skin based, but it's specifically the melanin cells.
Okay.
So like different than the carcinoma that it is involved in the skin. Melanin is the melanoma. So, yeah, I'm still fairly confused by the difference between carcinoma and sarcoma, but that's okay.
Hey,
she had a carcinoma because it was on the surface of her cervix. So
okay.
Epidermoid carcinoma of the cervix is one of the skin cells on the surface of the cervix. Henrietta's main doctors were Dr. Howard W. Jones, who first diagnosed her cervical cancer, and Dr. Richard Talind. So Talind was the head of the gynecology department and was very well respected in his field. Books that he wrote back then in the 1950s and 60s are still used in medical classes today.
Oh, wow.
Which
maybe they shouldn't be, but
yeah,
they are.
I mean, maybe we should have more research since then. But Talind and Jones were actively in a debate with like the rest of the medical community about how to diagnose cervical cancer with and if they were correct about their theories, they would end up going on to save a lot of lives. So at the time, there were two types of cervical cancer. There was invasive carcinoma that had penetrated the surface of the cervix. So it was down in the cervix. And then there was non-invasive or carcinoma in situ. So the non-invasive carcinoma grows as a smooth layer sheet on the surface of the cervix. Doctors of the day believed that the invasive carcinoma was deadly and carcinoma in situ was not. So they didn't really treat it as aggressively.
Got it. I'm assuming that's not true, but that's just what they thought.
So Talind's theory was that carcinoma in situ was a precursor for the much more serious invasive carcinoma and should be also treated aggressively. So he was like, we think that this is going to become that. Even though they look different, they're both dangerous and we should treat them aggressively. Trigger warning once more, even if triggers have already happened, but this one is going to be bad. So they would often treat the carcinomas with radiation and sometimes a full hysterectomy.
Okay. Sure.
So if Talind was right about non-invasive carcinoma becoming invasive, he would save a lot of lives. But if he was wrong, his peers thought his measures were extreme and dangerous
Taking
to the
out
patients.
uterus for no reason.
Yes, exactly. And he did a lot of work on like how to properly diagnose cervical cancer and the carcinoma in situ and all that stuff, because a lot of doctors were like, okay, great, we're going to treat it aggressively, but they were misdiagnosing it, and it was like something that would have been cleared up with some, some penicillin or something like that.
Right.
But they're like, oh no, we hear you, we're going to do this, and they do a full hysterectomy, and then they find out it's not. So
I know that
he
a lot of
did
these
work
people...
to like stop that from happening, but he was still pretty aggressive about his treatments.
I was just going to say, I know that a lot of these people probably had very good intentions. There's a reason they're doctors. Mm-hmm. It makes me crazy because in the 1950s, and some people still today, feel like women's value is giving birth to children. Mm-hmm. But to take away their ability to do that while still only valuing them to do that is bonkers. To be like, this is the only thing you're good for, but then we're going to very callously remove that ability without really talking to you about it or weighing the pros and cons. But then expect you to be fine with it, but
Yeah.
you're to us a worthless human being just shuffling through society. Like it just makes me crazy.
Yeah, it's bad, and it's also like it really touches upon like at the time they were not being completely honest with their patients and not really telling them. And we'll talk about.
And if you already have kids, you're going to want to stay alive for the kids you do have.
Yeah.
So if they're telling you need to have a hysterectomy, you're like, okay,
Right.
Right.
But again, it's like, you know, they said that they told Henrietta ahead of time that the treatments that they were going to give her would make her infertile. But there is a moment when it's all of her charts say that like they didn't tell her, and if they had told her, she probably wouldn't have gone through with the procedure.
Interesting.
And like we'll talk about it. There's a thing that I don't remember what they call it, but it's basically like generous withholding of truth. They're like, oh, because you know telling them actual truth about their diagnosis would really stress them out, and that stress can be dangerous for the patient. So we'll just kind of like
Gloss
lie
over
to
it.
them.
Yeah, I hate that too.
Is really bad. So
you've given me so much to be upset about.
This Dr. Talind actually eventually started writing a lot about how like not telling them that they were going to get a hysterectomy or not telling them that they would be infertile. The like psychological damage of that after the fact
is much worse.
Was much worse than like telling them.
Were they like giving people hysterectomies without telling them, and then they wake up and they'd be like, "Hey, by the way, it's gone." They were doing that.
I think some people.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm so upset.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. The medical world is rough.
I mean, it's gotten
less rough, but still pretty rough.
It's still pretty. I mean, it's 2026, and I chose the practice that I gave birth with because it was majority women of color, run by women of color. And I was like, they are not listened to, so they will listen to me, which is like a weird logic. But and also they were very
they were very, very qualified in both, but also like
experience.
Yes.
ULA, if you're having a kid in Manhattan, we love them.
10 out of
but
10.
It literally was me being like, they're still not listened to.
Yeah.
So maybe they're good listeners.
Right.
And it turns out they were.
Yeah.
But it's still
the
happening.
fact that it's a part of the calculus or consideration
then
yeah.
And I'm very privileged and lucky and happy that I was able to do that. And you know, we did have a good experience, but it's
yep.
We should have done this episode before I had a baby.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
You ready to talk about pap smears?
No, I have to have one in like a week.
It's a very important procedure.
I'll kill you. You go get your pap smeared.
I'll get my pap smeared. But let me tell you why. So
I know why.
yeah. But we're gonna tell our listeners in case they don't know.
Why.
Boys, listen up. So they only started being able to reliably test for non-invasive cervical cancer in about 1941 after the introduction of the pap smear. Ooh. So it was developed by a man named Dr. George Papankulo.
I didn't realize it was named after a person, and that does make more sense.
Yeah.
Because I was like,
and
what
his wife,
is the pap?
Mary Papankulo. So they develop it together. There's a lot of like
gynecological duos.
Yeah. There's a lot of medical duos in this story. So, this is fucking crazy, actually. Sorry for my language grandmother, because you're probably listening. The money in the swear jar right there.
Bad.
But this is absolutely nuts. So George and his wife is absolutely integral in this process. So they developed the pap smear in the 1920s and then rigorously tested it for 20 years before it was actually adopted by the broader medical community. Before the pap smear, the cervical cancer was the leading killer of women in the United States. The use of the pap smear reduced cervical cancer deaths in the United States by 70%.
Damn.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Okay.
Now, the fact that I just remembered that I think is absolutely nuts, Mary Papankulo volunteered as her husband's first test subject, giving daily samples for 21 years.
Nope.
Then she also recruited some of her friends to help form a baseline of healthy cervixes.
Woman should be on money. This woman should have a fucking monument.
70% of deaths, and it was the leading cause of death for women.
I have to have a pap smear once a year, and I think about it all the time. And it's so unpleasant, and I hate it so much. Yeah. And the fact that this woman did this every day voluntarily, like I want to literally rename the Washington Monument. Like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
21 years.
21 years.
So 21 times 365. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yes.
That's like 6,000 pap smears.
So many.
That's shut it down. Shut down the podcast. Like, that's so upsetting. I'm gonna think about her when I have to get mine next week, and I'm gonna say, if Mary could do it 6,000 times, I can do it.
They should tell
once
more
a
people
year.
about Mary.
I'm upset. I don't know if they should. Women would burn the world down if I knew.
Yeah.
They knew. I don't. Oof. I'm so upset. That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
That's
It's
crazy.
Yeah.
What, you know how men are like, oh, I get kicked in the balls twice in my entire life, and it's the worst pain I've ever felt.
Yeah.
To have that happen 6,000 times.
6,000 times on the daily. I wonder what time of day she did it.
Great question.
It's crazy.
I would want to do it early. I'd want to get it right out of the way.
Yeah, get it done. Yeah.
Get it done.
Yeah, not have to think about it all day.
Check.
Check.
Pap smeared. Ugh.
Smeared. Oh.
I am so upset. It's such, ugh.
Yeah.
They scrape you.
Yeah.
They scrape your insides.
Yeah.
I guess it's good that you're doing. I would not have been able to do this topic, but I
Yeah.
also am full of rage.
Yeah. But it is, so far, interesting.
I guess. At what cost? I'm
At
so
what cost?
upset.
Yes. I love you so much. Thank you for doing this for our listeners.
Thank you for
Next
giving
month,
birth to your beautiful child.
Next month we'll be talking about airplanes.
Just saying, you can
We
say
won't.
thank you more often.
Thank
She's
you so
literally
much.
a perfect
She is
baby.
absolutely perfect and amazing.
Yeah.
Just kidding. And asleep right now.
Good for
Keep
you.
on trucking, girl.
Good for you, girl.
She's going to work with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make away overalls.
Yeah, for sure. For safety.
For safety.
And cuteness. Okay, so there's a huge motivation to discover as much as possible about cervical cancer because, again, leading cause of death in women, and the connection between invasive and non-invasive carcinoma. So Talind made it a practice of basically taking a biopsy in the earliest stage of, like, anytime that he detected,
Sure.
cervical cancer, he would take a biopsy of it to test to see whether or not later it became invasive carcinoma.
Can I ask a question that you're probably not going to know the answer to?
Sure.
Do you know when the science started caring about HPV?
I don't.
Because HPV is like a
Is now
cause
the-
of
yeah.
cervical cancer.
Oh, yes.
Or it's like an indicator. And,
Henrietta also had HPV.
well, so, spoiler alert, I have HPV. And normally you can just get a, because I'm fun, by the way. Normally you can just get a pap smear. If you don't have HPV, you can just get one every 3 years now. They changed it. It used to be every year. Now it's every 3 years. But if you have HPV, it's every year.
Every year. Got it.
So I'm just wondering, because now there's like an HPV vaccine. They're like aware
Yeah.
of it and a little more.
Apparently, we began focusing on it in the early 1980s.
Okay, so they don't even know.
Yeah, they know it exists. They know it's a thing.
They're not worried about
They
it.
don't really know probably about the connection.
I'm just
between-
saying if she has syphilis, she probably has HPV, but you already
Yes.
just told me that she does.
She does, yeah. Talind and his wife eventually discovered that over 60% of carcinoma in situ would later develop into the invasive form of the
Okay,
cancer.
so a very
pretty,
high chunk.
pretty good, pretty good connection between the two. So another experiment that Talind hoped would help prove his theories correct involved another doctor named George Guy. George Guy was the head of tissue culture research, and Guy and his wife Margaret had spent the last 3 decades trying to grow malignant cells outside of the body in the lab.
Another little duo.
Another little duo. So hoping to find cancer's cause and cure. Unfortunately, most of the samples that they tried quickly died outside of the body.
Got it.
So this was Guy's dream. Guy had a dream of creating the first immortal human cells, and wait. So Guy had a dream of creating the first immortal human cells. So 8 years earlier, researchers at the National Institute of Health had proved it possible by using mouse cells. So Guy wanted to be the first one to be able to do it with human cells, which would be a huge advancement
Sure.
in medical knowledge about our own cells and things like that. So
They didn't ask whether or not they should,
no,
just if they could.
if they could. The guys, George and Margaret didn't really care what type of cells they used for their experiment. They just wanted human samples to try
Sure.
to. They were like, oh, we'll try anything and see if it works. Talind was willing to provide them with as many cervical cancer cells as he could obtain, hoping that they would be able to grow, again, a healthy next to a cancerous cell.
So he's
to
just
try to do
scraping
that.
cells from cancer patients.
Yeah,
and
he's taking
handing them
samples
to
to use them to find out whether or not later they become
right.
the
Okay.
thing.
Right,
and then
right,
he's
right.
like, after that, he gives them to Guy to be like, you can use them in this because maybe you can do this other experiment
Maybe you can
that I
do
want you to
something
do.
helpful with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So Talind began taking samples from any woman who was diagnosed with cervical cancer at all at Johns Hopkins and providing them to Guy, including Henrietta. So after Dr. Jones got the biopsy results back, he called Henrietta to give her the bad news. She took the news. She took the news stoically, telling no one of the severity of her diagnosis. She just kind of went about her day as usual. And then that evening, she told Day that she needed to go back to the doctor the next day for some follow-up tests.
She has got some next level like shove 'em downs.
She is an intense shove 'em downs kind of lady. We'll get into it, but like throughout most of her like prognosis, nobody knew.
knows. Got it.
And then eventually the pain was too much, and then
Yeah.
everybody knew all
Right.
at once.
Oof.
Yeah.
If you get cervical cancer, you'll tell me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
You gonna tell me?
Okay, we'll see.
Okay.
TBD. Let you know next week.
TBD. So the next day, she told Day and the children not to worry. Nothing was seriously wrong, and the doctor was gonna fix her right up.
Oh, so just lying.
Just lying. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Just being hopeful, but
With lies.
Yeah, with lies, for sure. So at registration, she signed a consent form giving the doctor a blanket authorization to do anything they needed to care for her cervical cancer. And then they took her back in the exam room where Henrietta took some more tests than she ever had in her life. She did urine, blood, lungs, catheter tubes in her nose. Catheter tubes, cannulas in her nose. So she was just like, all of the tests
I was
were
like,
happening.
what is a catheter doing for her in the nose?
No, the catheter downstairs, cannula upstairs.
Got it.
Because I think that's what it's called, but I don't remember.
We're going to get emails.
They gave her an early dinner that night so that she would have an empty stomach for the next morning for her first cancer treatment. So common practice at the time and nationwide was to treat invasive cervical cancer like Henrietta's with radium.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that.
We sure have.
Nothing good.
Nothing good. As we've discussed before, when radium was first discovered, it was used for anything and everything. Check out Radium Girls if you want to know more about the horrors of radium consumption back in the 1900s.
Yeah, their jaws are just falling off.
Yeah, just ugh. Yeah, that one got pretty graphic that episode. But
Yeah. I've just never used radium or had a jaw fall off, so I was able to handle it a little bit better. but-
right. Love you.
Love you, Mina.
So by the late 1920s, radium's danger was well established. However, it was still being used in medicine in specific, applications, especially as cancer
Well, it'll
treatment.
get rid of your cancer cells. It'll just get rid of all the other
Exactly.
cells.
So when radium breaks down, it shoots off high energy particles just in all directions, and these particles destroy kind of anything.
Pew, 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 pew.
So except for maybe lead, I guess. And this includes cancer cells, a notoriously difficult thing to kill.
Sure.
That's
I've
what I
heard
wrote
that.
here on these notes.
Very
so
helpful.
we actually still use a very specialized form of radium to treat some cancers today. But this one, the radium that we use now is incredibly targeted to go towards a specific thing. It's like some bone cancers, the radium is like kind of modified to act as calcium would. So it attaches to the bones,
Got it.
breaks down the cancer at the tumor, and then it has a very short half-life, so it breaks down and passes out of the body. So it still causes damage, but it's not the same, like,
It's not
some
living
of the
there
radium
forever.
that they were using back then had like hundreds of thousands of years half-life.
And they
so
just
it was
dumped
never
it
gonna...
on you with a bucket and
Yeah,
said, good luck
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back in the 50s,
They just poured it inside your uterus.
they had vials with like chunks of radium in the middle.
Chunks.
Yeah, like a tube with a chunk of radium in the middle.
What does that
and
look
it's
like?
I don't know. They called them
upset.
Brack plaques, named after the inventor,
Chunks.
Dr. plaque was actually the person administering Henrietta's radium treatments. Chunks. They're just little tubes with like a little radium like ball. I think maybe it was a little wire of radium.
I'm going to picture the thing from The Rock.
Yeah,
it's not accurate, but that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, but in a tiny little tube, in a tiny little canvas pouch
tiny little tube.
that they would insert into the woman's vagina and temporarily attach it to their cervix.
Just a radium tampon.
Exactly.
I hate this.
Yes. And then they would leave it in there for a couple days.
A couple of days?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that lead to toxic shock syndrome?
Maybe.
I don't know if you know the hold that toxic shock syndrome had on women in the 90s and early 2000s.
I know. I've dipped my toe in the water of knowing about that, but...
we were all very worried about it. I don't know if young women are still worried about it, but I know
Have they got better at making tampons? Is that why we're less worried about it?
I think like 10% better.
Because there's a lot of like stuff in there that we don't know about that is not good for the human body.
I will say you still have to like shop around to get a brand that is not full of nonsense cotton, but no, I just remember it had like a chokehold on me and many others.
Yeah,
like we thought about TSS.
Oh boy!
And it was like you open a box of tampons. And I'm sure still today. I just haven't done that in a while. And the first thing is like, don't leave it in there for. And I believe it's. I mean, I know what I do. I think the thing said 8 hours.
Right.
I don't like days. Of radium is crazy.
Is absolutely crazy. And my knowledge is basically one step above 100 tampons, the song.
100 tampons.
Which if you haven't heard it,
Marsha Belsky, 100 tampons, listen to it.
Banger.
Anyway, the tube was glass?
Glass tube in a canvas little pouch.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's just inside them.
Inside them.
And they're trying to go to work? What's happening? Are they in the hospital?
She's sitting in the hospital. She's in the hospital sewn to her cervix.
Ah! I'm so upset.
I love you.
I'm glad that shout did not wake our child. I'm so angry.
It's bad.
Did they give her painkillers to do this at least?
Well, the thing is about black women is that they rarely believed them nor gave them painkillers.
I'm so mad.
Yeah.
It's like boiling. You know when you get so mad?
Is it almost like you're full of radium and you're about to explode?
I'm going to kill you. No, it's like, you know when you're like just regular mad?
Yeah.
And you're like shouting feels good.
Sure.
But then you're like so mad that all you can do is like try to talk at like a quiet voice.
That's where you are now.
Because you're afraid your brain might explode.
Yeah.
I'm so upset about this.
Yeah.
And like I've known for so long that so many things are bad for people.
Yep.
But this is so upsetting.
Really upsetting.
Please put in the show notes that this is very upsetting.
I will. For
okay.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
I'm so mad.
Yeah.
And this isn't like my funny righteous indignation.
No.
Like I'm.
No, this is just a really, really tough part of history.
And then they just use a seam ripper and get it out of there. What's happening?
I would hope a very sharp scalpel, but I do not know.
You don't know?
I don't.
Just give it a little tug, maybe.
Probably not. I think.
Do you know that?
Well, I know that they removed the stitches. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did we get stitches that dissolve?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
So dissolving stitches apparently were first developed in the 1960s and 1970s. Yeah.
So a while.
Oh. Okay. Do you want to know what they were made out of?
I don't know.
It's cat guts.
What are they made out of now?
I don't know. Oh. Wait.
I've had several.
No, it's about. Let's see. Now. Okay, modern synthetic polymers.
All right.
So
I'm more comfortable with that for whatever reason.
Just some microplastics. No big diz.
Full of those anyway. Oh God.
Okay.
I'm assuming we're not getting nearly as far as you hoped.
I'm less than halfway through. So we've got a whole another episode ready to go.
I was gonna say we're not gonna make it because I have too much indignation. It's already been an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll have to figure out where we're gonna.
I'm sorry. I just
No. I think it's totally. I think not ending there is a good idea. Yeah, I think we're gonna end here before Henrietta gets sicker.
Tight. It helps that I already know she died.
Yeah, that's Romeo and Juliet, but sadder.
Does Day die?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
He's
But not for
dead
a long
now?
time.
Yeah.
Actually, the author in 2008, when she was writing this book, met Day. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so the developer of this heinous treatment method
Was a man?
was a man named like Dr. Brack or something like that.
Brick-a-brack?
His last name was Dr. Brack. His first name was silly, and I forgot to write it down. Which, sorry about that, Dr. Brack. You probably saved a lot of people's lives, but also because you thought radium was totally chill, you kept a bunch in your pocket, and then later died of cancer, probably caused by all of the radium.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But he was actually the doctor that administered Henrietta's treatments, which is interesting. So we don't need to talk about that. So the thing we do now, again, it like fuses specifically to the bone that is kind of attracted to like the cancerous part of the bone, or it's like gone close. So it really focuses on the specific thing. But this is kind of like a shotgun. It's like the radium is affecting all of her body.
Right.
And it is like absolutely destroying the tumor, but doing a lot of other damage as well. And the thing about radiation is that it can cause mutations like cancer. So it like can like make it better, but it can also make it worse.
Cause a different new problem.
Yeah, exactly. She was treated for a few days. It was removed, and then she would have an additional treatment every like few weeks. It did actually, to just kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but it did actually like her tumor went away, and she seemed like she had a clear bill of health for a little while, but pretty quickly she started feeling just off again and bad, and she was like, I think there's something still going on, and the doctors were very much like, I don't see anything, so you're probably fine. And then it gets way worse really fast.
I am not prepared.
Yeah. Okay. So during this first radium treatment that the doctors removed samples for Dr. Tallinn and Dr. Guy's research experiment. So like this was the without express permission, no medical reason to do so. They took 2 dime-sized samples of Henrietta's cervix, one from her tumor and one from a healthy part of her cervix to like compare the two. Dr. George Guy, had been attempting to create the immortal human cells for years at this point. And he himself was always very excited when he got a new sample. He was like, maybe this is the one. But everyone else in the department was just like, I mean, this one's probably the one. We've been doing this for years. There's no way this is going to help. They were just kind of bored and like, okay, well, we'll do the thing. So in order to successfully grow tissue in a lab, you need to develop a viable culture medium. So the thing that you put the
goo.
You need the goo. And that goo was the environment for the cell as well as the food to feed it that it survives in. So, Guy and Margaret and the Johns Hopkins scientists had been tinkering with their culture medium for years, constantly adding and removing kind of obscure ingredients. And it really felt like a lot of people kind of described it as like a weird witch's brew. Like it was a lot of different weird stuff that they were like, surely this will help.
Dump that in too, yeah.
So they would use, some examples are plasma from chicken. So they get like chicken blood. Also like puree various animal organs. They would get, blood from human umbilical cords. to the point where Guy had a bell rigged up from his office all the way up to the maternity ward so that he would know whenever a baby was born, and like him or Margaret would run up with, to collect the umbilical blood.
I mean, cord blood is like
Yeah.
coveted, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about science.
I think it has to do with stem cells, but I don't know exactly because it's at least slightly, it's a more ethical way of getting them. But
I just remember that because of the delayed clamping.
Yes. Yeah. So to collect the chicken blood, George Guy would actually just like run to a farm and stick a very large syringe into the heart of a chicken.
This guy's a
and
maniac.
remove blood. And the chickens, most of the time, survived.
Chickens are crazy.
But sometimes they die, and then George and Margaret would have chicken for dinner. So George was the biologist. Margaret, his wife, was the trained surgical nurse. So the main focus of her training was on sterilization and the importance of preventing contamination.
Right.
So she taught everything she knew to George. It seems like it took a long time to get
Seems
George
like
on
he
board.
was like, okay, little lady.
Because he was a real tinkerer, like all of his different inventions and things like that. I imagine him kind of like, not exactly because I love my dad and this guy seems like a real chaotic mess, but just a guy that was like putting old dishwasher machine parts together in order to make this thing.
I was picturing Doc from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Just the chaotic nature that he runs through the house and he's just like doing things.
With a syringe full of chicken blood.
Yeah, and you're like, who gave you that?
Where did that come from? But Margaret was kind of like the intense, like she kept a very tight ship.
Yeah, somebody's got to.
And she instituted an incredibly strict cleaning regimen, had steam sterilizers installed at all of the workstations. The air was purified and pumped in to a now sterilized cubicle. And before preparing any samples, the techs would have to scour every surface with alcohol and then use a Bunsen burner to like sterilize any of the scalpel or like the test tubes or any of the equipment that they were using.
Good for you, Margaret.
So Margaret was like on board with the idea that germs were bad. So each of Henrietta's samples that were, again, the size of like a dime were sliced into 1 millimeter squares and carefully inserted into a test tube with a small amount of the culture medium. So this was like dozens of each type. They were labeled and set aside to wait in a climate-controlled incubator room. The lab techs would label each sample with the date and the first two letters of the first name and the first two letters of the last name. So again, Henrietta Lacks, HeLa. So beyond experimenting with different culture mediums, the guys also made another advancement in tissue culturing called the roller tube culturing technique.
Okay.
So it involved a cylindrical like test tube holder holding dozens of cultures in tubes, and it would rotate very slowly. It would basically go all the time, 24/7.
Just so nothing settled?
Yeah, so nothing settled to the bottom because it would rotate 2 full turns every hour, so it was very slow.
Okay.
And they believe that the culture medium needed a consistent motion like blood and other fluids in the body. So they were like, gotta move it around. And apparently some of that at least proved true because it's the thing that they still have today. So every morning, Mary Kubicek, the lab technician overseeing Henrietta's samples, would check the test tube rollers for abnormalities. Every morning, she was not surprised to find absolutely no change. But then, about 5 days in, about 5 days in, she discovered something kind of peculiar. At the bottom of almost all of the samples taken from Henrietta's tumor, she saw a white ring surrounding the tissue. She described it as almost like a fried egg white kind of texture and color. Henrietta's healthy tissue samples died less than a week after being introduced to culture, but this was a sign that the samples from her tumor were actually growing. Other cells had grown like this before, so again, the techs were just like, seen it all before. It's probably nothing too crazy going to happen. Very unimpressed. But the next morning, she came back in and found that the growth had almost doubled in size, which is like an unheard of growth rate. So Mary got to work splitting each of the samples into 2 new test tubes and putting them in fresh growth culture and back in the spinner incubator thing. And then basically they doubled again the next morning. So every morning they would double and then they would create more and more and more.
Right.
All that the HeLa samples seemed to need was warmth and food. So just more keep them
Not
in a warm
difficult
place,
to keep
give them
them
more
growing.
give them more culture, and they would keep doubling forever. Eventually, like pretty soon, the guys had hundreds and then thousands of HeLa samples. Guy was tentatively optimistic, telling a few of his closest colleagues that he thought he might have finally created the first immortal human cells. He's very excited. The colleagues were impressed, and then they just asked if they could have some.
And he said, "Sure,
George
who
was
cares?"
Yeah, sure. They had so many samples. Whatever, you can have some, and then just started like giving them out to scientists who would then propagate their own, and then,
Wild.
yeah. So I suspect that this series is going to get longer than I expected because
I have too much righteous indignation.
there's a lot of righteous indignation.
It's very righteous, though.
Hold on a second.
I just thought I would be mad about because I didn't know the story and I didn't know it was cervical cells and I didn't know this. I just thought I'd be mad from like a consent
Yeah.
perspective.
Yep. And then
But there's so many more
big,
things to be mad about.
You know, big industry being created, and then people not getting money is
Sure,
is kind of not great.
compensation, racism, all those things. But
Yep.
now I also have to be upset about cervix. And
Yeah.
cervixes?
Cervixi?
Cervix. What is the plural?
I don't know.
I'm so sleepy. Cervixes.
Yeah, cervixes. Who knew? Somebody.
Not me.
I think I'm actually going to pull ahead a little bit and do this one little section about the immortal chicken heart. How far does that get us? Is that? No, never mind. 'Cause that's a lot of pages about the guy that
it's
is
already
into eugenics.
122.
Yeah, so we're already there. So okay, I think I think that's where we're going to leave it this episode. But you know, 4 it seems very likely in terms of episodes, and we'll see where we go from there. I think other than it being kind of awful to hear about all of this stuff, I think it's interesting.
I think it's a fascinating topic. I'm really excited that we're talking about it. I am upset.
Yeah, for sure. The next episode, you know, we're gonna have to start with kind of Henrietta's gonna pass away. Pretty soon, and it's going to be pretty rough and tumble until that happens.
Okay.
Because it does not go. The cancer is very aggressive and
it doesn't go the way anyone's planning. I'm assuming.
No. But then we're also going to talk about other cell culturists that are kind of nefarious and fraudsters, and we'll probably actually get into the factories that were developed because of Jonas Salk to, be able to cure polio, because they discovered that her cells are incredibly good at polio. Interesting and nice. At helping cure polio. So we'll get into all of that stuff, I think, within the next episode. And so there'll be some better stuff. Again, there's at least this next little part is gonna be a little rough, because Henrietta is very beloved in her community, but she has a very rough period coming up.
This Henrietta, and I already forgot her name, and that makes me very upset.
Oh, Mary,
who had 6,000 pap smears.
Yes,
Pap
and Kulo.
They both need a national holiday.
Yes,
I'm very upset.
We will be maybe adding a Mary and Henrietta statue, or art of some sort to the museum.
I can't even. I'm processing a lot of things.
21 years is insane.
I think. I mean, I know the human mind and body can get used to anything. But I'm like, that's so crazy. Thank you for doing this topic. Thank you for bringing it to the table. I don't know. I'm just taking.
I will try to, continue forward with as delicately as I can. But it's some,
it's gnarly.
It's really gnarly stuff.
It's gnarly. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you if you're a new listener for joining us. Not everything is about cervixes, but this week it is. Yeah. But please come back and join us next week for some more of this story, not the rest. There's plenty more.
Yeah. If we do get the video up at some point, check it out, like it. You know,
Tell your friends.
Do you subscribe to videos? I don't even
You
know.
subscribe to. Well, we'll have to make a YouTube channel.
Yeah, look at us.
Which I haven't created yet, but it'll probably be Yeet the Rich Pod.
Yeah, watch out, the Yeetsy boys.
Is that a thing?
No.
Well, it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Love you so much. Bye.
Bye.